It's about 9 minutes to the hour. Joel Siegel visited the latest Bond, Timothy Dalton, on the set of the next Bond movie, James Bond movie, License Revoked. And they talked about those amazing stunts and the incredible action sequences that open the new Bond movie.
We started off with this incredible ski parachute jump on the Arctic Circle, and since then our audiences have demanded that we start with kind of like a mini film at the commencement of the picture. So it's a thing that we've kind of got stuck with in a way, and we enjoy making them, but they become harder to do because you feel you have to better each one.
The most successful series in film history, seen by more than 2 billion people. And breathtaking stunts like this at the start of Octopussy are part of the reason. This movie before the movie, this chase before the chase, this was from Roger Moore's last Bond, View to a Kill, sets us up and pulls us in. The cinematic equivalent of Julia Child starting a recipe by grabbing us by the collar and running us in the Mixmaster. But the opening sequence from The Living Daylights did something else. This was Timothy Dalton's first James Bond, and that was Timothy Dalton on the roof of that Land Rover. No stand-in, no tricks.
We both knew he had 4 minutes to prove that he was Bond in that opening sequence, and we said, what can we do to help you prove it? And we did everything we could, and he did it. He just got up there and did it. We made everything safe around him. And it was the courage and the strength that he had at holding on, and we trusted each other enough to be able to get all those shots and prove the point. He is Bond.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah. It was?
Well, sure.
Didn't look easy.
Well, when you're on top of a Land Rover going at 40 miles an hour, you do tend to hang on.
I guess so.
Another Hollywood rule James Bond breaks: if you are going to let your star risk a limb or two, do it at the start of the film when you can find a new star. This isn't the NFL where you can bandage up a hurt and go out and play the second half. If a star breaks a bone, the cast and crew still have to be paid, the cameras stay rented, meals will be served, and that can cost $250,000 a day. Still on the set of License Revoked, that's Timothy Dalton rehearsing his falls, getting shot at. A plastic brace, kind of like a catcher's chest protector, will be covered in the final shot by a morning coat. Tails. Well, this is James Bond. One trick: how do they get bullets to fire so realistically? This gun, fired by forced air, shoots round plastic pellets filled with fireworks.
Wow. It's terrific. How many people get shot in an average Bond film?
There are the number of people you actually see physically shot with hits on them, probably you could count on the fingers of one hand. But there are an awful lot of bullets going off around people.
Now, it was close to 100 degrees in Key West the afternoon this was filmed. A stunt double could have stood in. But the Royal Shakespeare Company trained Dalton insists on shooting what he calls the action scenes to help him create a closer to the book James Bond, played with a hard edge of danger. Protected by a team of stunt coordinators and special effects experts, some with Bond since Dr. No, just where Bond stops and show business starts, Dalton won't say.
I have heard here that you do 80% of your own stunts. That's the number they're tossing about.
Yeah. So what's your question?
Is that the answer?
Well, I mean, I never like talking about stunts because you shouldn't explain, how things are done. If you show your audience too much of what's happening here and how it's done, or if I explain it, the magic is lost in the cinema. The excitement is lost. I mean, who really wants to know that it was a sheet of glass between Sean Connery and the tarantula? It's all right knowing that now because it's 20 years later, but at the time, you want to believe it.
Well, Bond fans, we will have more with Timothy Dalton tomorrow. 10 minutes before the hour now. First there was Sean Connery and then Roger Moore. But then it took 2 solid years of searching to find a man who could step into the shoes of the most successful film hero in history, James Bond. Timothy Dalton finally got the license. And Joel Siegel concludes his visit with Dalton on the set of License Revoked. This is his second outing as 007.
A bit high, Simon.
Yeah, that's it. You seem to be having a good time doing this.
Yes, I mean, what you've been watching is all sort of short action cuts. Frankly, I'd enjoyed playing the scenes more because this is quite hard. It's very mechanical, technical.
What's going on? What's happening in the scene?
A South American drug baron has come into American territory, and the DEA and the customs and I guess the CIA or the FBI or whoever they are after this man called Fran Sanchez. And this sequence here is part of the chase which finally results in his capture.
The title is License Revoked. What have you done?
Well, Bond gets fired. I guess he's on something of a personal mission of, or personal vengeance, mission of personal vengeance. And it's an embarrassment, so he's kicked out.
I understand that this script has much more of a storyline than the other script.
I don't think so. I think it's much more of an action film.
Oh.
Much more of an action film. I think the last film did have rather more intrigue and mystery. I used to call it a romantic mystery thriller. This I'd have to call an action adventure thriller.
You've watched Living Daylights. Are there things that you like?
Yes, I thought it represented a good step in the right direction. I think it brought the film back to something of the spirit of the earlier films and also something of the spirit of the books.
Very nice moment early in the film when you don't shoot the sniper.
Well, it's one of the things I liked about that particular story, because Bond starts off both in Fleming's story and in this as a man who's pretty well had enough with the rather dirty world that he's moving in, or rather the real world of espionage or secret agents. He would consider that assassination was murder.
Shoot her. What are you waiting for?
Which was a theme Fleming harked back to constantly, which I think he used as his device, as his platform for getting Bond onto a clear path of an attack against something very positively evil. Because the films are about good against evil. They're not about the real world at all.
Another nice moment in that film, the chase on the cello case.
Oh, that was wonderful. That was marvelous. I mean, I think that embodied all the qualities of excitement, large-scale imagination, and good humor. It was, I think, very, very successful.
Also, the airplane sequence in that film was one of the most exciting sequences. Yes, absolutely.
Breathtaking. Splendid.
That all done in the lab? How much of that was real?
Now, I'm not really going to explain how it was done, but I can tell you it was done for real.
You get nervous? Situations like that?
Listen, I get nervous saying a line, you know.
What other things has being James Bond allowed you to do?
I've been given a script called Hawks, which was a movie I made last year. It's just come out in England. And wanted to do it. Doing Bond enabled them to get the money. It was a very low-budget film, and I think a very, very special film. After that, I went into the West End with that wonderful American playwright Eugene O'Neill's A Touch of the Poet. What the Bond film meant was that a lot of people who had never, ever been to the theatre before in their lives came to see Eugene O'Neill and came back afterwards and just said how thrilled and excited they were. And when I asked them if they were going to go to the theatre again, they said, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, it's to see other things, but they'd only come because of Bond.
Well, terrific. 5 minutes.